Thank you for joining us for the press conference for the Texas women's basketball team. We're joined at the podium by head coach Karen Aston and student athletes Ariel Atkins and Joyner Holmes. If you could please raise your hand prior to asking a question and make sure that you identify yourself and your organization, and we'll bring you a microphone, and we'll open it up with an opening statement from the head coach.
First of all, just congratulations to Stanford and to Tara. I thought that their team showed a lot of resiliency and toughness in the second half. In turn, I thought ours showed a lot in the first half. We got off to a rough start, and then we really regrouped and played really well in the first half. And they just executed some things in the third quarter that got us a little off balance, and we just couldn't answer. We didn't answer. At times, we didn't answer their quickness to the ball, and at times we didn't answer from an execution standpoint. I thought they executed some things down the stretch really well, and we just didn't. And some of it, I think, is just the difference in experience. Reminded me a little bit of last year when we played UCLA, and we had some older players that had been through some things and really knew how to execute down the stretch and be tough down the stretch in a Sweet 16 game. And it looked almost flipped this year, where we had some young players make some mistakes that they'll learn from, and we just didn't execute as good as we needed to. But again, a lot of credit to Stanford.
And we will open it up with questions for the student athletes.
Rick Cantu, the Austin American Statesman. Ariel, the first few minutes of the third kind of changed things. Coach, can you say specifically what Coach was talking about, or the execution part of what Stanford did right that you guys didn't do right that you did in the first half?
It's kind of like she said, they had experience. They were using the angles well on the court. They were running their plays. They were finding the open man, rebounding.
The Daily Texan, Ariel, you guys struggled most of the second half with shooting. Was it more of just that they played great defense, or just that you couldn't get shots to fall?
I think it was our execution. I think we kind of got antsy, and I think they did a good job of packing the paint on us.
For Joyner, I mean, rebounding had been this team's strength, and had you seen a team that kind of got in the lane like Stanford?
To me, honestly, it kind of reminded me of the beginning of the year against South Carolina. It had some big girls, and they out-rebounded us down the stretch, and I just felt like that was kind of the turning point during the game. I know we got a couple offensive boards, and that was like, it changed the momentum of the game, but I feel like we just could have got on the offensive boards a little bit harder.
Both of you are coming back again next year. Can you talk about the team that you'll have and how you can use this experience to hopefully make a deeper run next season in the tournament?
I know as we were walking down here, Coach was telling Ariel that most of the things I've done this year and the team has done this year, we wouldn't be able to do without our older players. So I just feel like this game here and this feeling here is a motivation to what we have next year. And I know we got a lot of players coming back, and we have transfers, so I think we'll be pretty good next year. We just got to put in the work over the summer.
Kind of goes what Jordan said. I think we have a lot of work to do, but we can't go without saying credit to our seniors. They came in with Coach Aston and her staff, and they've helped us bring this program back to the national light, and I'm really thankful for them. And they've really helped us become who we are, and I'm definitely going to take a lot from them going into the next year.
I don't think we could have got as far as we got without them.
Ariel, great season no matter what, but 3 straight Sweet 16s. What do you think it's going to take to get over that hump?
If I knew the answer, I would tell you, but I'm going to figure it out this summer.
Any other questions for the student athletes? One more.
Joyner, you're only a freshman, but what did you learn this year that you can apply for next year and to make the team even better with you being a sophomore?
I just feel like just listening to my older players and listening to my coaches. I don't think I've ever played on a team that just had so much, like, I think not just experience-wise, but just people that will actually motivate you and talk to you and tell you what you're doing wrong and tell you what you're doing right. I feel like just coming back, I got to work hard in the off-season. I didn't really participate in the off-season as much this summer as I could because I was injured. But I just think going into that with a good mindset and just remembering this feeling, like I said.
Any other questions for the student athletes? If not, then they can be dismissed. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll open it up with questions for the head coach.
Sydney Rubin, the Daily Texan. Coach, Brooke had a very uncharacteristic game. What did they do to stop her on offense?
I thought that they had some quickness on her that was able to shadow her. I mean, they did a great job of shadowing her most of the game. They beat screens, did a good job helping when she was screened for. But I also think that goes back to my statement in the beginning, which was that I didn't think we executed things at the level that you have to in the Sweet 16. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. I mean, screening, angles, passing the ball at the right time, setting good screens, people waiting on them. I mean, there's just an execution that has to be at a really high level. And I thought that we made some adjustments in the first half to open things up on the inside. And, we got antsy once they made the run. And I thought we didn't wait on things to happen offensively like we did in the second quarter. And like you need to at this level. And again, there's always times when you shut people down and someone else has to answer. And we just didn't necessarily have that tonight. I thought we did a great job with them in some areas, and they had other players answer the bell. And you have to have that happen when people focus on players that have been scoring.
In the last game against NC State, you said in the final 4 or so minutes, you could just tell in your players' eyes and by their communication that they were going to win. Did you see that same urgency in the end of the game today?
There's times that, and I told them this in the locker room, that I have been disappointed in their effort in games and felt like we didn't have a sense of urgency that you have to have. And there's only been a couple of those this whole entire year, but we did have a few that I was quite disappointed in. That's not what I would call this game. I mean, first of all, I'm really proud of our seniors. I thought they laid it all out there today and gave their best effort. And I'm proud of what they've accomplished here at Texas. And I wouldn't say that our team didn't have urgency. I just think they executed better than we did. And we made some mistakes on defense that they made us pay for, and that's execution. And they were just better than we were in that area. And some of it was youth, and some of it was just we got antsy and didn't execute well.
Samuelson took 8 threes, and Brooke didn't even take a 3 until about a minute and a half. What were they doing right to set her up in situations where she could be effective?
Well, she's a really experienced player, and again, that execution has a lot of pieces to it. It's the passing, it's the people doing the passing, it's the ones doing the screening, and it's the one reading the screens. And when she got free, a couple of times, quite honestly, we just made mistakes. We made mistakes on defense. And if you look at the first half, we didn't make very many mistakes, and we just made a couple of mistakes, and they made us pay for it. And I think that's what gave them the confidence and maybe shattered ours a little bit. It rattled us a little bit.
Going back to Bree and Kelsey, they both have had huge milestones this season, and they're the first group that you recruited and have kind of gone full circle with. Can you just talk about what they've meant overall to the program the past 4 years and your past 4 years specifically with them?
Well, I told them in the locker room that, I mean, we're absolutely supposed to win games, and that's what we're all here to do at Texas. But when I look at those two and when they came to Texas, and I mean, we weren't very good, and they bought into a vision, and they trusted the vision throughout their career, and I mean, they've been to 3 Sweet 16s in 4 years. More importantly, it's really how much they've developed as people. I mean, when you look at their academic success that they've had, it's pretty amazing. When you look at what kind of leadership skills that they've learned, what kind of young women they are now as they begin to think about walking across that stage in the spring. I mean, that's what I'm so proud of as a coach. And again, I understand what I'm here for, but I also know that I guess maybe I'm getting old. But when you get a little bit older, you really begin to appreciate the maturation of a player and what they become as a woman. And I can't say enough about those two and what kind of people they are and what kind of student athletes they've been at Texas.
Coach, 2 questions. 1, do you label this a successful season? And 2, with the players you got back, coupled with the 2 All-Americans that you got coming as freshmen, do you think the expectations will be even greater next year?
Well, I don't think they can be any greater because we expected to go to a Final Four. I mean, that was our goal. And it was a realistic goal. So I don't know that our expectations will be any different next year. We expect to be challenging for the Big 12 championship. We expect to be a contender. We expect to win 20 games. I think that's always the benchmark of when you ask me if it was a successful season, we won 25 games. Last year we won over 30, and I think when you get to 30, you're really special. I mean, I thought last year was a really special year. Anytime you start winning 30 games, as Stanford has done this year, you have a really special team. And I definitely think that when you look at the journey this team had, starting at Stanford, it was quite a journey. And a lot of people really grew up. A lot of young players really grew up this year. And I'm tremendously excited about the future, as I have been, not just because of who we have coming in, but just who we have returning. I mean, you're talking about, a lot of young players that got a lot of really valuable experience against quality opponents that they'll be ready and they'll learn from it and they'll be motivated by it.